Greetings builders, Daniel here and welcome to my second top 3 budget builds for the Affliction League. If you wanna try any of those, you can find links for POBs and complete guides in the video description. And if this video helps you, please leave a thumbs up to support the channel. Thank you very much and let's get into it! The first build of our budget selection is the amazing Summon Raging Spirit's Guardian with the Templar class. As you know, minion builds are among the best builds out there, and this one in my opinion has the best cost benefit. It's a very simple and safe build for you to complete all content without much investment or effort, awesome for beginners. To list the pros of this build, I would start with how accessible it is. It is super cheap, simple, easy to play, and doesn't need any mandatory unique item. This build is for everyone. It also counts with a great boss damage and survivability. Above all, it has 3 damage hours totally for free and a minion that takes 20% of the damage for you. Now to list the cons, I'll start saying that Raging Spirits have a short duration and you need to keep resummoning them while clearing maps, which might reduce your speed a little. Other than that, this build also doesn't have access to evasion or reach. As for budget, you can get it destroying early endgame maps with only around 60 chaos. To comfortably advance to yellow maps, I recommend investing around 100 chaos, and for easily completing your Atlas, I recommend investing around 4 divines, but you can totally do it with less. Don't forget that on PoEbuilds.net you can find a list with all the equipment that you need to buy for this build, with direct links for examples being sold by other players. For clear speed, this build gets 8 out of 10. This is because you have to keep resummoning your Raging Spirits, but as you can see, even though this clear speed isn't super fast, it's perfectly fine for you to play and have a good time. The boss damage is great, it's a 9 out of 10. If you apply all the buffs and maintain 20 spirit summoning, you will easily reach over 15 million DPS, more than enough to decimate all endgame bosses in seconds. For the survivability, I'll give it 10 out of 10. This is because we're talking about a minion build where you just need to summon them and wait behind while they destroy and tank everything for you. You just need to mind your position. But with this build, even if they manage to reach you, you still have high armor and block chance, resulting in an effective HP of over 140,000. Next, we have the most beginner friendly of all, the Arctotem's Hierophant, also with the Templar class. On this build we use many totems that cast the Arc skill for a fast and safe clear speed. Listing the pros of this build, I would start with how cheap and easy it is to complete your Atlas using this beauty. With almost no investment, you have a powerful, safe and fast character that will be the perfect currency farmer for this and future builds. Now to list the cons, this build doesn't have access to evasion or spell suppression, but don't worry, totem builds are very safe to play. Another issue is that some players might find this gameplay to be a little tedious and too easy, but as you know, this is just a matter of taste. As for budget, you can get it destroying early endgame maps with only around 35 chaos. To comfortably advance to yellow maps, you need to invest around 90 chaos, and for easily completing your Atlas, I recommend investing around 3 divines, but you can totally do it with less. This build needs 3 mandatory unique items, but they are normally very cheap and easy to get. The first one is the Soul Mantle Armor, that causes Socket Gems to be supported by a level 20 spell totem. This grants us an extra support skill gem. We also need a Kikazaru Ring to counter the effect of curses. This is because a side effect of Soul Mantle that will apply a random curse on you whenever a totem dies. Finally, we also need the Self-Flagellation Jewel that grants up to 20% increased damage for each curse on you. Thanks to Soul Mantle, you'll be always with around 9 curses, resulting on 180% increased damage. For clear speed, this build gets 9 out of 10. Arc is an awesome skill that chains through many enemies and easily clear big packs. This build counts with 4 totems casting this amazing skill. The boss damage deserves 9 out of 10. With the right debuffs and all 4 totems summoned, this build can take even big bosses down without any issue. For the survivability, I'll also give it 9 out of 10. As a totem build, you'll always be far from action while your totems do all the work. So if you know how to mind your position, you can easily complete high tier maps with low grade gear. Above all, this build still counts with high armor and high block chance. Finally, we have this incredibly tanky melee build, the Bone Shatter Juggernaut with the Marauder class. This build is perfect for the melee enthusiasts out there. Bone Shatter hits enemies so hard that it hurts your own character, accumulating trauma stacks. For each trauma you're going to deal and take more damage. That's why it's important to gather both attack speed and armor to stack many traumas and sustain their damage. To reach the pros of this build, I would start with its survivability. Even though you deal damage to yourself, this build has so much armor that you won't feel a thing. Now, because of that, you might think that this build had to sacrifice speed or boss damage, but no, it's still super fast and can kill guardians in just a few seconds. Now, to list the cons, the first thing that comes to mind is that you need to keep an eye on your accuracy. This is because the Keystone precise technique that grants 40% more damage if your accuracy is bigger than your life. As for budget, this build is cheap. You can get it destroying early in game maps with only around 60 chaos. To comfortably advance to yellow maps, I recommend investing around 120 chaos, and for easily completing your Atlas, I recommend investing around 4 divines. For clear speed, I'll give it 9 out of 10. Bone Shatter also creates a big pulse of damage when stunning enemies. That means that a single blow can kill an entire pack of monsters. Other than that, you stack a lot of attack speed that causes your Leap's Land to almost teleport you through the map. The boss damage is also great and deserves 9 out of 10. Using Berserk on bosses causes you to accumulate a lot of trauma stacks and deal huge amounts of damage. For the survivability, this build is surely a 10 out of 10, and I would even like to say 20 out of 10 if I could. This build achieves almost 200,000 armor and over 83% of all elemental resistance. All of that combined with the Juggernaut Ascendancy grants this character over 300,000 effective HP. Yes, it's crazy. And that's it guys, what did you think about those budget builds? Please take a second to tell me in the comments and leave a thumbs up to support the channel. I wish you guys an amazing day, and don't forget to keep building!